Welcome to the College of Engineering and Technology's second registration tutorial, How to Register Yourself for Classes Using SSB. This is a tutorial designed to show you how to navigate ECU's self-registration system. In this tutorial, we will cover how to register yourself for classes using Self-Service Banner, also known as SSB. Please be sure to watch our Understanding Your Major Guide, How to Know What to Register For tutorial before continuing with this one. You'll need to have the following available as you register for your first semester here at ECU. Your Pirate ID and password to log into Pirate Port. This is typically your last name and first letter or something similar. Your registration PIN, which is found on Port 2 of the Peer Guide, right here. Your major guide for your selected major, also found in Port 2 of Peer. Right here are the major guides. Your general course list, which is found on your major guide. Your registration instructions, found on Port 2, right here, how to register for courses, and it is also hyperlinked to the first step in your major guide. Self-registration takes place on a system called Self-Service Banner, or SSB. You'll become very familiar with this system during your time here at ECU, so try not to feel overwhelmed when you first log on. Okay, we're going to have our major guide open in a tab. If you recall, on our first tutorial, we had used construction management, so that is what we are going to stick with for right now. We are also going to have our instructions open. That is the first step right here. So we're going to have those open in another tab. We are also going to have our general education course list open for registration purposes, and we're going to get those right there. Okay, so now that we have all of our information open and available to us, we'll be able to get started with our registration. The instructions are a great reference for making any schedule changes throughout the summer. Please take the time to read this document before getting started with registration. There are really important hyperlinks on here as you go through it. It's a link to Port 2 on Peer website where you have your registration PIN. There is a link on here for how to use registration waitlists if your classes are closed and you need to put yourself on a waitlist. There is also a link for common registration errors on here. This is really important for you to get to familiarize yourself with what to do if you get an error. There is also a note at the bottom that says to please not use Schedule Planner tool in Self-Service Banner, and I will point that out to you once we get logged on. All right, so we are going to start at the very top, and we're going to click on ecu.edu. Hyperlink, move this out of the way. We are going to go to our Pirate Port. And here you're going to enter your login information, your Pirate ID, and your password. And once you are logged on, yours will look a little different than mine. Obviously, I'm an employee, so it's a little bit different. But you'll just type in here self-service, and it'll be the first one that comes up. Remember, I am using the construction management guide, but you will follow course suggestions for whichever major you have selected. Okay, once you are on your self-service banner, you're going to make sure that you've clicked on the Students tab. You might have one that says Personal Information and Student. These are obviously mine for being an employee. And we are going to click on Registration. Just to point out, here is where you can find Schedule Planner and Schedule Planner Registration Cart. The instructions advise you not to use these two to create your first semester schedule. It's a little bit easier just to follow the direct instructions. Please make sure that you are doing that. All right, the very first thing that we are going to do is you're going to click on Add or Drop Classes. Since I am not an undergraduate student, I will not have the same ability to do Add or Drop Classes, so I'm going to be clicking on Look Up Classes, but when you go to register, you will click on Add and Drop Classes. You're going to enter your term, which is fall 2020. And right here, we're going to click on Advanced Search. You might be prompted to put in your PIN number there. Remember, that could be found on Port 2. And here is where we're going to get started. We're going to look at our peer guide. I'm going to scroll back to the top. In our first tutorial, we discussed how to determine if you are declared or intended for some majors. So please make sure you go back and review that information to determine which type of student you will be for your major. Not all majors have a declared and an intended student, so just be mindful of that. According to this peer guide, the first course that we would want to register for if we are declared construction management student would be CMGT 2200. Okay, so we're going to go back to our self-service banner here. We are going to go to construction management, and we are going to put in the course number 2200. We are going to not touch any of the rest of this. We're going to leave it all the same and hit section search. Okay. Since you will be using add and drop classes, you will have a little checkbox right here. If you notice, I have an SR student restriction. Because I am not a student, I will not be able to register for this class, but I can still point out everything that you'll need to see. You'll have a box here that you'll be able to check and a little button that'll say register or add to worksheet. Things to point out for this course here. Okay. When you are looking at courses, the days are located right here. A T is for Tuesday and an R is for Thursday. So this course runs on a Tuesday and a Thursday from 3:30 to 4:45 p.m. Here's the listed instructor. Here is the location. You can determine if a course is open or closed by looking right here. If it is open, it will have a box that you will be able to check. If it is closed, it will have a C. This is also listed on your instructions. Further down on your step-by-step here. Here's an example of a C. Here's what it'll look like if it's available to register for. Okay. You can determine if a course is on campus right here. 008 means it's a main campus course. If this had a 650 right here, it would be distance education. If this section is listed starting with a 600, it is also most likely distance education. And you will not be able to register for all of those as some of those are restricted. You can determine if it's an online course with the section number being 600 and the campus code being 650. It'll also say TBA for times and days. TBA will be listed right there, okay? So if we were able to, and this was open, we would click the box and hit register for this class because this was our first priority class that was on our major guide. After we have done that, we will go back and we will look at our next course that we want to be looking at, okay? Our next course that we would want to register for according to our major guide would be CMGT 2210 and 2211. This is a class and a lab combo. You have to register for them at the same time or you will get a registration error. Okay, so what we're going to do is after we've registered for this class, click on a button, check the box, hit register. We'll go back to student, go to registration. You'll click add or drop classes. You'll put in all of the required information that it prompts you to. We're going to click advanced search. And this is a construction management course, so we are going to click on construction management as the subject. And instead of putting the whole number, we're actually just going to write 221. That will bring up both the 2210s and 2211s together. Leaving all of the rest the same and untouched, we're going to hit section search. And as you can see here, we have 2 sections of the class and 4 sections of the lab. This section of the lab is currently closed as indicated by this C right here. All of the others on your window would be available to check. Okay. You are going to want to take a look and select one of the classes and one of the labs simultaneously. So you'll have 2 check boxes and you're going to hit register in order to register for both the class and the lab at the same time. You also need to be making sure that the instructor for your class matches the instructor for your lab. So for example, I could check section 001 of this class right here, and I could also check 003 of the lab right here because they both have the same instructor. If you're not sure how many seats are available, this is the number of seats remaining. This is the actual registration, and this is the capacity of the class. Okay, so just a little bit more information. Remember, T is for Tuesday, R is for Thursday. So this class is on Monday and Wednesday, and the corresponding lab for if we pick section 3 would be on Thursday. Okay. The next thing we would do is make sure that 2 of those were checked, hit register, and then we will return to our peer guide. Following the same procedure, we're going to go to the next class. So our next class, again, would be a class and a lab combo that we're going to look for. Process is the same. We're going to go to student, registration. You'll click add or drop classes. In this case, I'm doing a lookup class because I can't register for the course. Advanced search is a construction management class. And we're going to put 240. leaving the last digit off, it'll pull the class and the lab at the same time. And again, 2 sections of the class, 4 sections of the lab. 2 of the lab sections are currently closed at the time of this tutorial. And you would follow the same process. And let's imagine all of these were closed and it's on our priority list. What would we do then? If you look at your peer guide, it says, if the courses are full, please move on to step 3 and continue to check for open seats in your priority courses up until you attend new student orientation. In this case, you would want to check back throughout the summer, as many students make schedule changes for a variety of reasons and courses do open up periodically, okay? So you would just say, okay, that one's full. Let's pretend that one was full. Our next course that we would want to register for would be Math 1065. We're going to go and pull that up in the same way. Student, registration, add or drop classes. In my case, I'm looking it up this way. You would go to advanced search. Now, in this case, it's not a construction management class. It's a math class. Even though you are a construction management major, or whatever your major may be, and you want to follow the subject listing for the class. So this is a math class. We're going to go all the way down to mathematics, and we're going to type in 1065. Okay. Pulls up all of the sections for 1065. You'll notice some of these sections are closed. This section down here is an online section, and we can tell because it has a 601 and a 650 here. And this section right here, section 10, is restricted for students with a P in 0001 or 0045. If this is not an attribute that you have, you would not be able to register for this class. So be very careful when you're selecting a course that it doesn't have an attribute restriction right here. Okay, so you would click on whatever section works for your schedule, check the box, scroll down to the bottom, hit register, and then you would go back to your peer guide. Okay. So let's pretend that we've registered for 2200, we've registered for our class and lab 2210 and 11. We couldn't get into this one because it was full, and we have ourselves registered for Math 1065. So we have currently 3, 6, 9 credits because we couldn't get into this one. We would then want to move on to step 3 and continue to build out our schedule all the way until we have a total of 15 to 16 credit hours. Okay? If you get to the class that is full on your step 3 list, just move on to the next one. So our next class that is recommended for us to search for would be English 1100. We're going to follow the same procedures that we've been doing the whole time. Registration, you'll go to add drop classes, you'll go to your put in any of the information it prompts you to do. You would go this time, since it's English, we're going to put on English, and we're going to put on 1100. And again, you'll notice that some of the sections are currently closed. Some of them have major restrictions or attribute restrictions, so you would have to be a member of the Jarvis LLC to get into this section. Okay, you would have to be having that attribute to get into this section. But you would want to comb through and find one that works for your schedule. You would select it, scroll to the bottom and hit register, add to worksheet. You will continue to build a schedule following the hierarchy of classes from your major guide. And if you're deciding on whether or not to take a course from up here or a course down here at a preferred time, always sign up for your priority courses ahead of your recommended general education courses. Okay. You can always pick a different humanities or social science, but these are very important for you to register for if they're open and available. Speaking of general education and humanities courses, if you get down to this area, you will want to use this guide to determine a social science and or humanities class to register for. Okay. It was located on the bottom down here, but we had opened it so it would be ready for our use. If you remember from our first tutorial, attributes of GD mean global diversity, and attributes down here of DD mean domestic diversity. Remember, you may have to take an 8 a.m. class as a freshman, and it can take some time to build your schedule, but try to enjoy the process. It's really exciting to be starting college, and we're excited that you're coming to ECU. Use your instructions, your major guides, and all the other aids on Port 2 as references. They have a lot of useful information to help you. If you're looking to see what you've successfully registered for, you would go to your student tab, you would go to registration, and you would click active registration. Again, I was not able to register for any of these classes as a staff member, but you would see it right there. What it will look like, there's an example of what it will look like right here on your registration instruction sheet. Remember, when you are finished with registration and have checked that it's been successful, you'll want to exit out of Self-Service Banner. You'll want to log out of your Pirate Port, just to protect your sensitive information. In this tutorial, we have covered how to register for classes using Self-Service Banner. You should now be able to search for classes and class lab combos, identify a class's day, time, instructor, and location, identify if a class is on campus or online, register for yourself using your major guide, know where to check if you receive an error message and what to do, and you should be able to create a full first term schedule. Thank you for watching and welcome to Pirate Nation.